Hey friends, Shawn from Season Art Element. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be heading into my studio to work on a project I have been aching to start. My antique spinet desk. You don't know what a spinet is? Well, meet me in my studio and let me tell you all about it.
Yesterday there was sun and there was rain, beauty in the mundane.
Now, I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to go through an estate before anybody else, and I found many treasures in there. One of those treasures is this antique spinet desk. I paid $40 for this. That is an insane bargain. If you know anything about these, it's ridiculous. The finish is a bit roughed up and one of the legs is broken and needs to be repaired, but overall getting this piece to shine again is going to be relatively easy. I have a great plan that's going to marry a finish of paint and stain together, and together they're going to create an elegant and complementing finish worthy of a piece like this. Now, if you're not sure what a spinet desk is, let me tell you. A spinet desk is an antique desk with an exterior shape similar to a writing table but slightly higher. It's fitted with a single drawer in the front that runs the whole length. However, they usually are just a dummy plate, is an actual drawer, making it even more special. Now, these desks were often inspired by small colonial pianos or harpsichords and are sometimes referred to as ladies' desks or writing desks. In the early 1800s, when the spinet piano's wires wore out, their frames were repurposed into desks, hence the name spinet desk. The top lifts open to reveal the interior. This is where the piano would have actually been that you would have played. It's another drawer inside. The spinet desk is a compact and versatile piece of furniture, blending the functionality of a writing desk with the aesthetic appeal of a spinet. It's actually a multifunctional piece of furniture that often captivates people with its unique blend of history, functionality, and design. I know I'm digging it. Now, from what I've been able to ascertain, this desk is from between 1911 and 1915. Made of mahogany, this piece was once stunning with its interior pigeonholes and cubbies. These beautiful shapely legs. I love, love, love them. Gorgeous, gorgeous legs. Just, oh, so pretty. And the extendable surface, you can see the area is really small, but with the extending interior, the writing space gets even bigger. It's actually a nice size. Now, the interior isn't bad, actually. I think just a little Restore finish would shine this up nicely. When it actually comes to the interior of desks, I try to keep them natural whenever possible. It's extremely difficult to paint in the tight spaces with a spray gun, and I'm not busting mine out today. Not in the plan, Stan. What is in the plan, however, is to clean this piece up good, and while it's drying, I'm going to fix that leg. I think I have an easy and solid solution for this, and then I'm going to remove the old stain from the legs and top. I want them to be stained, but the original finish is in rough shape, especially on the top, and where I want the top and the legs to be the same, I'm just thinking that stripping it all down and restaining them all with a fresh coat of gel stain is the way to go. I want to add a bit of complementing color around the body of this piece in a gorgeous and rich deep green, and then highlight the beautiful details of this piece with some antiquing glaze. I also have a beautiful transfer I'm thinking might belong on the top to take my stunning vision to the next level. I'm not sure. I'll see as we go and see what the design is dictating. So, without further ado, let the games begin. I'm going to give the outside a good cleaning with my crud cutter, and then I'm going to clean the interior with hot soapy water. Once that's done, I'm going to set this aside to dry and focus on this leg. I need to really look at it because I haven't yet to see what the best approach is going to be with fixing it. It seems like the hole for the screw is actually just a bit worn out and it's let go, probably from moving it and dragging it around for about 112 years. So because it's a very clean break and the screw does fit fairly snugly back in there, I'm just actually going to add some really good glue, fill the hole up nicely, get the screw back in there, set it aside, and let it dry. I think that's all that it needs because it is still a snug fit. Something just let go, you know? Legs off. I marked the legs so I can get them back exactly where they go. I mean, it's an old piece. I don't know if it's like drawers. Drawers need to go back where they came from. I want to make sure I get the right legs back in the right holes. So just simple little marks. Nobody will ever see them. Now I want to strip the top and I want to strip the legs and get that going. But I don't want any of my stripper to potentially drip through the hinge and on the inside. So I'm actually just going to put some tape there. Make sure that doesn't happen. Okay. Because I'm painting the apron of this, I'm not worried if strippers should get on there. It's not like it's the ending finish. So I'm gonna obviously be very careful and just try to get it on the top. Once all the pieces are covered and wrapped, I'm actually going to leave it to sit and do its thing, and hopefully when I come back, I'll be able to just remove the old finish easily.
May the odds be ever in your favor.
I'm just going to start with the top for now because I want to see what this wood is going to do, how it's going to react. So to start, I'm going to use my plastic scraper, and with a pair of gloves on, I'm going to start scraping. I am not gouging at the piece. I'm literally just riding the surface with my scraper. It's coming off really good, and I can see a beautiful grain under there. But I can also see some seriously dark spots on this piece. I'm not sure what that is all about, but I mean, they're really dark. So, and then when I'm done, I'm going to use water on the surface of this because my stripper is actually water soluble. And I'm going to give it a good spray. And using double yacht steel wool, I'm going to go over the entire piece and gently try to get off whatever residue and goo's left behind. And then I'm still going to take it one step further and I'm going to go back over the whole piece with some mineral spirits and another steel wool pad. I want to get a good look at this 112-year-old grain. This grain is really beautiful. It's got some incredible character and detail in there. I'm gonna let all of this dry and then I'm gonna come in and sand it with my surf prep. Now I'm gonna do the exact same process to all the legs and see how they look. I've left this leg alone to sit and cure, and it's totally cured, all fixed, all better. So before I actually get to the other three that have been sitting there with stripper on them, I want to get stripper on this so it can process. So real quick, gonna get some on here, and then I'm gonna get to the other three legs and see how they look. The other legs have been sitting for a while and you can totally see the difference. Stripper has kind of absorbed the color, so hopefully it is ready to come off. I've been thinking about the best way to actually get the stripper off of all of these curves and details of the legs.
And what I think I've come up with is I'm going to spray everything down with water and use steel wool, use as many pads as I need to. And trust me, I do go through like an entire package of steel wool on these legs, but totally worth it. Spray it with water, use the steel wool, pull as much of that off as I can. And then I'm going to go back over it again with the mineral spirits and get whatever residue is left. And whatever it is, it is. I'll go at it with my surf prep after that. I've got my surf prep and an 80 grit, and I am going to see what I can do about these dark, dark marks through the wood. I'm not sure if anything can be done. I definitely don't want to sand too much. I just want to see if it's going to come off or not. You'll know within the first couple of minutes if this is going to be an easy task or something that you're going to have to rethink or go with and incorporate somehow. So I'm going with the grain and I'm just going to try and see what I can do on this top. And I want to mention that this top was completely dry. Everything had absorbed into the wood. I had left it overnight just to ensure that it was all completely dry and ready for sanding because you definitely don't want to sand wet wood. It's just not good. Yeah, don't do it. No. Well, I started with 80 grit and worked my way all the way down to 220, and this is the end result. Although not perfect, it is much better. There are still some seriously dark spots, so now I am really thinking that the transfer on top is definitely going to be incorporated. When working with old pieces like this, there are just no guarantees that what your vision is going to play out. You have no idea what condition the wood is in, the piece is in, none of that. You don't know how the wood is going to react to what you're doing to it. So you kind of have to be able to pivot and bend and go with the flow and trust the fact that you're still going to make it beautiful, even if it isn't the original idea. You just build off that and change it to make it all work. So I'm going to do the same thing to these legs, 80 down to 220, and see what we get. Now that everything's sanded, I actually want to get the apron of this piece painted, but I want to protect my top from anything because I'm not ready to stain that right yet. So using some of Scott's auto detailing paper and tape, I'm going to tape off the entire top so I can spray the apron with some polyurethane. Now, the reason I'm spraying it with polyurethane is because this piece is over 100 years old and it has a very, very red tone, even sanded off, left on, whatever the case may be. There's the potential that a red-purple color is going to come right up through sanded wood and even through fresh paint and ruin it. So it's always good to give it a coat of polyurethane or even better shellac. If I actually had spray shellac, I would be using that, but I don't have any right now. And this is going to work just fine. I'm just protecting my investment, if you will, because nothing frustrates me worse than knowing better and just skipping a step because I just didn't feel like doing it. Not all parts of upcycling are fun. Some are work and you have to do them to get to the fun part. So don't skip over anything. The final result could potentially suffer and all your work will be in vain, and then you're just going to be irritated, and there's really no point. Since I am only painting the outside apron of this desk and keeping the inside original, I actually want to tape off any spots where I could potentially get some of the paint on the inside, which means all the seams to the front where it opens. I don't want any paint on the inside, so I'm quickly going to tape it off. And then I'm going to get this beautiful shade on. This delicious color is Manor Green by Fusion. It is a dreamy, creamy mineral paint, and I love the shade. Every time I see this shade of green, I always think fox hunt, old money, libraries with dark paneling. It's a very stately and sophisticated color, in my opinion. Oh, just look at that color. I love it. I think it's gonna look absolutely gorgeous on this piece. So I am going to get started and get 2 coats on using my synthetic Wooster brush. I love this little Wooster brush. It's very flexible. Painting is easy, and with the small handle, which is comfortably made of rubber, I must say, it works and glides really nicely over the projects, and you can get into spots you just can't get into with a larger handle brush. So if you haven't invested in a Wooster, go get yourself one. They're not that much money. I have several. I love them. 2 coats of this scrumptious color coming right up. Oh, beautiful. I think it's gonna look fabulous with the color of the legs and the top. I think once the stain is on, the regal green and this beautiful color are going to look absolutely fabulous together. This was a great choice. I'm going to paint the inside drawer the same green color that the body is, and I want to give it a little scuff sand first. I am absolutely loving this sanding contour kit. I got this off of Amazon. It was super cheap. Look at all the silhouettes you can do. They have a wedge for every shape, including this teardrop shape, which is perfect for getting inside of the pencil holding area of this drawer and giving it a nice little sand. I'll actually put the link down below to that. I don't earn anything if you order it. It's just super affordable and really good to have when you're doing this kind of work. Lots and lots of choices. I used a real dark gel stain. I actually like gel stain better than a regular stain. I feel like I have more control with this. I used 2 coats of it, wiped it off, but then I also went over this using my dark walnut restorer finish. I was going for this old world warm look, and I think that combining the 2 colors together, it gave me just that. I love how the legs came out. I think they're absolutely beautiful and stunning. You can see the grain of the wood. You can really see the sexiness to the legs. And yes, I did say sexiness. These legs are absolutely sexy. They are beautiful and feminine and sculpted little pieces of art that this gorgeous little desk sits on. So the 2 choices of mixing the gel stain together with the restore finish was absolutely perfect. Even on the top, look at this grain line, you guys. Oh my gosh, I had no idea it was gonna be this beautiful. I am absolutely blown away with how this looks compared to how it started. What do you guys think so far? I wanted to take this gorgeous green paint and bring it to the next level. I just couldn't decide if I wanted to use a brown antiquing wax or if I wanted to use a much darker antiquing glaze. There's a huge difference between the two. So I decided to start with the brown wax because I can always go from lighter to darker, but it's a lot harder trying to go from darker to lighter. So I started with the brown wax, and as soon as I started putting it on, I knew this just wasn't the right decision. I didn't like where it was going. I didn't like the look. It was completely wrong. So stopped that right where it was, wiped it off, and I ended up going with the antiquing glaze. It was exactly what I needed. It really brought out the details on this piece beautifully, subtly, gorgeously, and timelessly. It kind of just looks like everything's meant to be exactly the way that it is. And to finish off the finish, I wanted to make specific striations through the glaze on the piece. So using one of my paintbrushes with a stiffer bristle, I dragged it through the paint to get those specific striations, and the end result is absolutely gorgeous. It really brought it to the next level, and I truly think it actually goes even better with the stain color. Like everything just looks totally meant to be. And when that happens, that's when you know you did it right. I wanted to add a pop of art and unexpectedness to the top of this piece without hindering the grain. I didn't want to cover up much of it at all. and I had several choices and options. I had some beautiful transfers to choose from Redesign with Prima. I had this amazing stencil that I could do with paint, or I could do it with a metal leaf. Both would look absolutely fabulous. I even had this stamp, which I could also do with paint or with a metal leaf, such as gold leaf, and they would all look beautiful. And I wasn't exactly sure what to do, so I asked all of you fabulous people what to do. And Miss Laura told me to use the Redesign with Prima in the canister. This beautiful design is called Rustic Charm, and the transfer itself is absolutely gorgeous, but it's really big. I could have made it work, but it would have covered up the grain in its entirety almost, and some of it still would have been too big. It didn't look right. But it did have these two accent pieces to the design that I thought would look really great on the top and lower opposite corners diagonal from each other. I thought it would kind of frame the top, work with the grain, give it a little extra flair and glam, but allow that beautiful grain to shine through. So I didn't use the whole big one. I still have that saved for another project. I just used the smaller pieces that came with it, and I think it's absolutely perfect. Like, literally, I couldn't have picked a better one. Thank you for suggesting it, Laura. Perfect, perfect. Kudos. Before we look at this beautiful desk brought back to life and styled in my decor, let's take a look back at where it started from. I hope you enjoyed this simple but brilliant transformation on this gorgeous and stunning spinet desk. As always, thanks so much for watching. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, I hope you'll consider doing so before you leave. And I will see you right back here again next week. I have something amazing planned for us, and I hope to see you here. Bye, friends.